Soils in constructions have many uses such as landscaping, backfilling, but most importantly today we would like to focus on soil as a medium or where our buildings are anchored, all our structures. So before construction or before you start any structure that you want to put up, it is very essential for you to understand the ground where you are going to put up your structures. That's why it's very necessary for your engineers to come and examine the properties and the characteristics of the soils underneath and see whether they have enough bearing capacity for the structure you want to put up. The information that is gained from this study is very essential in determining things like the foundation, how the soil is going to respond to construction activities, and also what are the improvement or what are the ways of which the soil can be improved so that they can be able to withstand the loads of your structure. When it comes to geotechnical survey, this is something that has been done from a long time, where the ancient builders used to check, or they physically check the area where they are building or where their structure is going to stand. They used to check for weaknesses, stability issues of the soil, and things like that. If I may take you back to the 12th century in Italy, there is a building called the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Well, what happened is that the building was set in basically soil that were not very stable, and with time the building started leaning towards one side. This shows that the engineers never took enough time to study the area and understand the nature of the soil underneath. So these are some of the examples that are the dangers that we can expose ourselves to if we don't take a proper examination of the soils where we put up our structures. Now, step number one is what we call a desk study. A desk study is simply getting information about the site where you want to construct. For instance, if you want to put up a 20-story building, it is essential for you to go to the ground and see, and also look for information regarding that piece of land. You can take this information from aerial photographs. You can also take from historical records on how the land has been used. Also, you can check for geological maps to get some information. So on going to the step number two. Number two is a reconnaissance survey. A reconnaissance survey is simply visiting the area, checking for any signs of instability, the type of vegetation that is there. Now, the third step now is where you collect samples or you collect data. For the structural engineers or the civil engineers, they bring their technicians on site. They can drill some boreholes and collect samples that are taken to the lab. When these samples are taken to the lab, is where now we can able to identify soil moisture content and also the grain sizes. This information is essential to determining the type of soils or the strength of the soil that is underneath your construction site. And a data analysis is where now your engineer is going to prepare a report that is going to show now the soil stratigraphy, things like shear strength of the soil, the bearing capacity, and things like that. Now it's going to be a comprehensive report that is going to try to give better information on the type of foundation that you're going to do for your construction or for your structures. Why is it important for you to do a geotechnical survey or an investigation? Number one is cost effectiveness. When you do a geotechnical survey, it helps you to understand the nature of the soil that you are dealing with. It is very easy to identify the type of construction equipment that you're going to use, the techniques that you're going to use. This saves on time. This saves also on cost. The second reason we do this is on safety. When it comes to safety, the engineers have information about the soil, so they're able to design structures that can withstand forces like earthquakes, soil liquefaction, and landslides, things like that. There are some areas that are prone to earthquakes or landslides, so the engineers are able to design structures that can withstand. Also, this information can be very important in improving the soils where your structure is going to be constructed. Environmental protection. By doing these studies, you are able to identify things like the underground water. It is very important also to protect things like underground water. So these investigations are essential to identify key factors or key things like that. And then the other importance also is helping the engineers design the appropriate foundation for your structures.